Hello and welcome to Bio 138. My name is Rob Smith and I happen to be your instructor here for this semester. The semester, of course, happens to be for the spring 2021. This course, just to let you know, happens to be taught over a total of 8 weeks. So rather than being a 16-week semester, we're going to be covering this within 8 weeks. So if you will, this class is condensed. This class is going to go by pretty quick when you look at it. And again, the intention of this course, as we take a look over here at the front page, is that it is a non-lab biology course for non-science majors. So the intent, again, is for those people that are looking for a 3 biology credits, if you will, and not necessarily going to be a science major. So that's the level at which that this course happens to be written at. And we're, of course, going to be going through, some moral and ethical dilemmas, talk about the social impact, and then, of course, with that, also look right here at genetics and those concepts related to genetics and kind of develop that area there that you happen to have. So that's really the course kind of in a nutshell, if you will. And since you've clicked here on the link where, again, it said start right here, you were able to see this video and it was able to pop up. So I'm going to take you through the rest of the home page. So whenever you log into Canvas, what's in front of you is what I'm going to refer to as the home page. It's the first page that you're going to see for Bio 138. Every Monday, I am going to update this page, but it's not going to be a complete update. Okay? So as you take a look at the setup right here of this page, you can see that there's a link right here to your textbook. So you can click right here, and then you're going to get the next window. And right here, it'll say textbook, and you can go ahead right here, and you can download the textbook for the course. And this is in a PDF format. So there is no need to go to the bookstore and buy the textbook. However, if you wish to, you can go ahead and purchase a printed copy of the PDF, and I believe the cost is roughly about $5. So again, if you ever need that textbook, the link is always going to be here on the home page. The other thing is if you ever get caught and you get stuck in this class, you can always send me a message. I can either meet with you on campus, or I could set up a Zoom, or we could talk again, through some other form of communication. But if you want to go ahead and take a look at the tutoring options, there does happen to be a link right here for free tutoring that is done through MCC. So if you notice right here, it says tutoring flyer, and then it says biology tutoring spring 2021. You can then open this PDF, and you can see all of the times that the tutors, specifically in the biology area, happen to be available to answer your questions related to topics. In order to go ahead and do that, you do have to join a conference call using Zoom. And to do that, you can enroll for that by clicking on the link right here that you can see on the home page. So going back to the home page that you happen to have, again, right here happens to be the textbook link. Over here happens to be the tutoring link. The next area again happens to be the course topics, and if you notice it says part number 1, introduction. So look at this class, if you will, like a football game where you happen to have 4 quarters. Even though we have 8 weeks, pretty much about every 2 weeks roughly we're going to be covering a certain part, if you will, of the course. So for the first part that we happen to have here, it's going to be the introduction. And then the second part is going to be covering the structures of the cell. The third part is going to be covering genetics. And then the fourth part is going to be the application of the genetics, which is going to be ethics. What's going to happen is every Monday I am going to activate either 1 or possibly 2 of these session links. So if you take a look right here, since we are in the first week of the course and everything, right now I happen to have session number 1 that happens to be open for you, which is going to be covering the study of biology. And then if you look below it, you'll see that there happen to be session number 2 and session number 3. These will probably be open next week for you. And the way that you'll know that they are opened is, number 1, I will send you a message each Monday to tell you that they are activated. But you will see the link going here from the default color of black and it will go into this hyperlinked color of blue. And so that's when you'll know to go ahead and click on a specific session. Okay? So for this week, if you go ahead and click on session number 1, you're going to see this page right here that says the study of biology. Now, the way that I have each of these pages set up for this given week is I have them set up where you happen to have 3 areas to look at. You have the learning objectives as one area. You happen to have the videos and video lectures as the second area. And then the third area happens to be the assignments. So as we go through this right here, you can see the learning objectives, and for this specific area of the study of biology, I happen to have right now 5 different learning objectives for you. These 5 learning objectives are going to be covered right here in this video lecture. So to go ahead and view this video lecture, all you have to do is again click on it. When you do click on this link right here, you will see that I've gone ahead and I have put together a specific lecture related to the course. And when I've put this together, the other thing that I've done, and I have to wait here for a moment, I happen to have again some explanation during the video about how this was created and what to be looking for. And you can follow along because I've also gone ahead and during this presentation, I have a screen pointer where I'm highlighting different things in the lecture. And if you notice right here, the learning objectives, you can see on this very first PowerPoint, it says be able to list and explain the significant characteristics of life, understand the characteristics of life and how they contribute to the 4 general principles of biology. And then over here I have understand the significance of the Linnaean system. And then again with that, what is unique here about each of the kingdoms, and describe how living things interact. So these happen to be my learning objectives. And if you look over here, you'll see the learning objectives all written out for you as well. So I try to make everything go ahead here and align up perfectly. The other thing I do for you in the learning objectives is if something is only in the video, I put the word at the end of the sentence lecture, meaning that that content material is specifically referred to inside of the video. So you'd have to watch the video. However, if you take a look right here where it says understand how the characteristics of life contribute to the 4 general principles of biology, you'll notice right here where it says page 13 through 15. What I'm telling you then is that roughly on page 13 to 15 in your PDF version of the textbook, you can find those characteristics. Now in general, if I mention something in the video and it's going to be different than what you see in the textbook, I'm going to say that I'm going to trump then the textbook. There's times when, for different reasons, that I disagree with the textbook, and it's not that one is right or one is wrong. We just have a different way of looking at things. No different if I were to ask you, what happens to be your favorite sports team. Some of you may say the Bears, some of you may say the Packers, and you all have different ways to go ahead and look at things. And some of you may even say you don't like sports at all, which is perfectly fine. That's your perspective. Okay? So that's what these, again, terms mean when you see lecture and when you see the page number here. All right? The other thing I've also done for you, if you notice here, how it says Bio 138, Lecture Number 1, Introduction. So this happens to be the video, and if you would like those specific PowerPoint slides. So in order to make these videos, I had to actually go ahead, put together a PowerPoint slide, but if you actually want to have the PowerPoint slides, so that way you can take notes on them, what you can go ahead and do is you can click right here if you would like the PowerPoint slides, and then you're going to get this area right here that says PowerPoint Files. And then if you notice right here, it happens to say Bio 138, Lecture Number 1, Introduction. You can click right here, and of course, you can download that PowerPoint file. So that way you have the notes, if you will, for this course. And you can see that this is going to take me just a little bit of time to go ahead and open. I happen to be at my home right now, And I do happen to have kind of a rather slow internet connection. So this file right here is 15 megabytes in size. So again, since I am at home, and of course since I'm making this video and everything, I'm using up some bandwidth, and it's just taking some time to open. So anyways, like I was saying, right here happens to be the PowerPoint slides. And as I mentioned to you, right here happen to be the objectives. And so you can see these objectives, and this whole PowerPoint slide follows with the sequence of the video as you watch it. So again, if you want to pull these out, take notes on them, you can definitely go ahead and do it. In fact, I'd actually probably recommend that you do it. So that way you happen to have some notes off to the side for when you do get some different types of questions related to concepts within the video. Okay? So, as I was saying, going back here to Bio 138, where we happen to have, again, the study of biology, I just showed you right here specifically where the PowerPoint lecture is at, and also where the PowerPoint slides are at. The third tab right here happens to be assignments. So for this week, since some people are not going to be going ahead here and possibly logging on till the later part here of the course, and it's always good for you to log in on Monday, and I would always recommend that you log in probably sometime, or I should say after noon, but see what the new update happens to be. But for this week, we happen to have an assignment, and your assignment right here happens to be to do a discussion board. And so I have a link right here to the introduction for it. I tell you when it's going to be due, and you can see the due date for this is Friday, January 22nd at 11:59 p.m. It's always best, though, typically with discussion boards, I'm going to ask that you do, when we get into some of the more detailed discussion boards, I'm going to ask typically that you make your first post by, like, let's say a Wednesday, and then make a follow-up post by a Friday. So that way we're not just going ahead here and putting all of our posts on a Friday. So in the future here, there'll be typically 2 dates that are going to be given to discussion boards. The other thing too, I'm not a really big discussion board individual. I try to have fun with some discussion boards as opposed to being factually driven, if you will. So I'm not going to have a discussion board post every week. Sometimes you're going to have a work assignment, sometimes you'll have quizzes and things of that nature. So do not expect to do a discussion board post every week. Okay? So with that, I'm going to click over here where it says introduction, and boom, I happen to get, of course, my discussion board. So basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to post a short introduction about yourself. In that text box that's going to be down below, what I'd like you to go ahead and do is just give me 1 to 2 paragraph, sketch about yourself, which happens to be, what's your occupation, what's your education, what are your experiences with online learning as a student, and if you have any sort of other information that you wish to include, like do you have an outside interest, feel free to include it, family, whatever you want to go ahead and do, feel free to do that. If you'd like to include a picture of yourself, you can do that, but of course it's not required. And then with that, post at least here one thing that you want to get out of this course, okay? And then throughout the course, what I'll probably actually end up doing here is make a list of what you're kind of interested in, and maybe go ahead and, as I design different weeks, maybe see what your interests are and see if I can't get the two to go ahead and overlap together, okay? The last thing I'd like you to do, just something kind of off the wall, if you will, answer one of the following questions. So I've given you down below here 4 different questions that you can go ahead and answer, but you only have to pick one of them. This one right here I actually took from Reddit. I thought it was kind of an interesting little question here, so I'm giving credit where credit goes in. But this happens to be, after you die, you have to choose a single spot on Earth where your spirit will be locked in place and forced to observe for the next 1 million years. What's the most interesting location you'd choose? And again, pick that location, tell me why you pick it, right? So again, good paragraph right there. Paragraphs, again, are about 5 sentences in length. The next one right here is, what is your favorite movie quote? And name the movie and explain why you like this quote. So I just thought I'd go ahead and, give you a chance to do something totally opposite, look at movies. Of course, social media, everybody happens to typically have it. not many people shy away from it, but if you could pick one social media app to use for the rest of your life, which one would you pick between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, Snapchat, or if you want to, just name the app. I know there happens to be many more out there, so feel free to go ahead and, what is that one social media app that you cannot live without that you would say, yep, I'm going to use this for the rest of my life, okay? And then the fourth option that you have is what is one good habit that you changed in your life? So since we're in the month of January here and, most people have resolutions and things of that nature, what's a habit that, has gone ahead and changed your life, something that you've adapted right there, okay? And if you look at number 4 right here, you can see that for this week, responses to others are encouraged, but they're not required. So again, this is just to get you to go ahead and post to the discussion board and to get you to, go ahead here and basically just get, your biographical information. So, we can go ahead and see who's all online together. Now, I'm going to go back here to the home page. And so you can see over here there's a to-do list. You can see that the discussion board is right here. So you can get to the discussion board by clicking right here where it does say that link at. Or you can come over here where it says discussions, and then of course you can follow through with that. Okay? So as I said, each Monday by noon, I am going to go ahead and activate either 1 or 2 of these links at a time. And as I mentioned to you that we're going to be going pretty fast here throughout the semester. So when you take a look at it, you're actually going to have your very first exam that's going to be coming up on January 30th. Okay? What I'd like to go ahead and do here now is to go over to the side right here where it says MCC syllabus. This is your syllabus for the course. And so I'll go ahead here and I will pull this up. And right now, of course, because I am in the student view, it is not going to allow me to pull this up. So I am going to pause this recording and I am going to pull up the student. Okay, so I'm back here. So as I said, I'm on the student view, just switched over to the instructor view, and I'll be going ahead now and showing you your syllabus. So anyways, with that, as I was saying, the course technically begins January 19th. And it runs until March 14th. So you don't have to worry about spring break at all because this class will be concluded by the 13th. All right? With this course, it is completely asynchronous, which means, again, that there are no set meeting times. The only thing that you have in this course is going to be deadlines. And so, again, I typically like to do one of those sessions per week, if not possibly 2 of the sessions per week. All right? If you have any time, if you want to go ahead and talk with me individually, we can always go ahead and set up a Zoom session to go ahead and be scheduled. I typically, during the regular semester, if we were, again, pre-COVID, I would have office hours and things of that nature, but with Zoom, I can be ultra flexible. And so with that, I can be at home and I can answer many questions whenever you want me to, so I can hop onto Zoom if you wish for me to go face-to-face with you. Or computer screen to computer screen, if you will. The other thing, too, I just ask, and I also understand that many of you may be at home. You may have small children that may run in and out of the screen. You may happen to have children that may want to go ahead and light the curtains on fire and do different, things in the background, and you're just kind of, all stressed out about them. But don't worry. If you actually were to meet me face-to-face, you'd find out that I'm incredibly laid back and I'm incredibly flexible. So if we're on a Zoom call and all of a sudden something happens where you've got kids running around and they're making noise and everything else, don't worry. I completely understand. I happen to have a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old as well. Actually, I have a 16 and a 14-year-old. So again, I do happen to have kids of my own, and sometimes things happen, and I totally understand that. So don't get embarrassed by it. Okay. The contact information. rsmith@mchenry.edu, or if you wish to, you can always go ahead and send me a message using the message feature over here on Canvas. So that message that you send through Canvas will shoot to my email, and then I can communicate back and forth with you that way. So totally fine. The absolute worst method, the method that is like the black hole, is my phone. if you call my phone, I may not get back to you for several weeks. Right now, I am teaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays on campus, but I do not always go into my office, and I don't always have a habit of checking my voicemail messages because typically people do not leave me a voicemail, okay? So don't email me. I apologize. Don't send me a phone message because I may not be going ahead and listening to it until after the course is over, okay? Other things, the materials, like I said, the textbook, I provided you the link. You've seen it. If you want to go ahead and go to the bookstore and purchase it, you can definitely do that. All right. You can see right here the main objectives of the course. So there do happen to be some big objectives right here that we'll be covering. And then, of course, you can see the course outline. Not going to bore you with those things. You can go ahead and you can read through those, but those happen to be the main things that we're going to cover. All right. The grading scale, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to know what the grading scale is going to be. We go 90, 80, 70, 60, and so forth, which means that if you get 90% of the points and above, you get an A B is 80 to 90%, and then so forth. So the way that the class is going to be set up is that you're going to have a total of 300 points. Of those 300 points in this class, you're going to have 3 exams that are going to be worth 50 points each. So 3 times 50 equals 150. Where do you end up getting the rest of your points from? You end up getting the rest of the points from your assignments. And the assignments are related to your discussion board postings. They're related to homework assignments, short quizzes, and other things that we're going to have throughout the semester. So when you look at it, I try to, in a non-majors class, be at a 50-50 balance, where you get about 50 percentage points, if you will, from your exams, and then you get the other 50% points from your assignments and things. So if you're not necessarily the best at taking tests, then the assignments help pull you up. And if you're good at both of them, again, you'll do fairly well in the course. Now with this, like I said, there are going to be 3 exams that are going to be given out in the course, and I would like to go ahead here and use the Respondus Lockdown browser. And I'll give you some more information about that a little bit later on. Big thing here, just so you kind of understand this, is that I do allow for exam retakes. And so with those exam retakes, you can take up to 2 of them per exam. And if you like your first score, you can go ahead and you can choose to keep it, or you can retake that, exam that you're taking. In each test, you have the opportunity to take, again, 2 exam retakes. And then what I'll do here on Canvas is I'll set it so that way your highest score is going to be kept. So if you take a 90%, the next time you get an 85, well, we'll keep the 90%. Okay. The other thing that I'm also going to be doing here too is that after the exam is completed, you'll have up to 2 days after the exam to re-examine that test. So you can go ahead and you can look at that exam and you can look at what the answers were and things of that nature. I do recommend it because sometimes I will make typographical errors. Sometimes I'll mark the wrong one as being correct, so sometimes I do make mistakes. So I do give you that opportunity to go back and to look at that exam and everything. Okay. Now, with the exams, I'm going to go down here to the schedule. So you can see from, again, January 19th, which is going to be on Tuesday, to January 31st, we're going to be doing the introduction material. So we're going to do the study of biology. Next week, we'll end up doing the scientific method in chemistry, so you'll actually be doing 2 things together right here. And your very first exam that you're going to have is going to be popping up here on Saturday, January 30th at 6 a.m. So that is when the exam time will open, is on that Saturday. And then you have from Saturday, January 30th at 6 a.m. to go ahead and complete the exam up until 10 p.m. on Sunday, January 31st. And so I'd like to point out that I'm going to give you up until 10 p.m. I normally don't do 11:59 p.m. because normally what I end up seeing is if I end up pushing things back until, the wee hours of the evening, people like to go ahead and use all that, time and everything. And most of the time, individuals end up getting fatigued. So with that, again, we'll go ahead and close the exam number 1 down at 10 p.m. My biggest recommendation to you is to go ahead and sit down and take the first exam, maybe on a Saturday. And then if you elect to go ahead and do a retake, take a look at your materials and things of that nature. And after you go ahead and take a look at those materials, maybe come back on Sunday to go ahead and do exam attempt number 2. If you, again, like the score that you get on exam number 1, you don't have to take it a second time. Now, some of you are going to probably ask a very good question: where do the tests come from? And the tests come from learning objectives. So if you remember, again, that set right here of learning objectives that I have right here on these PowerPoints, that's what the exam is going to be written based off from, okay? And so as you're following along here in these videos and everything, you know, that's, again, what the videos are based off from. That's what the exams are going to be based off from, okay? So that's exam 1. Exam number 2 is going to be covering the structure of the cell. And so that's going to be the first part of February, if you will. And again, the very same thing. We go ahead and we'll open that exam at 6 a.m. and we close it again at 10 p.m. on the Sunday. So again, 6 a.m. on Saturday it opens, 10 p.m. on Sunday it will close. Module exam number 3 will open at 6 a.m. on a Saturday and it will close at 10 p.m. on that Sunday. So I really try to be very consistent on my dates and times, so that way, again, you're not having to worry about, well, is exam 3 at the same time as exam 2 and so forth. Again, like I said, everything I try to keep at the same times. Okay. Finally, if you take a look, module number 4, there is no exam here. And again, instead, in module number 4, we're just going to go ahead and start looking at some ethics and start going ahead and looking at, you know, some of these things philosophically, if you will, in this course. So in module number 4 that deals with ethics, you will see no exam. Instead, it will be based on discussion board and situations that happen to be out there that deal with different issues within the field of genetics. Okay, so that's what those modules happen to be, again, related to. Okay, so we've got 4 of them. Remember, like I said, 4 quarters in football. We've got 4 different modules to go through, 4 big things to kind of cover here within this course. Okay, so I talked here about the exams. Like I said, discussion posts. Again, please remember here that with the discussion posts, to post early, get those things in as soon as you can. Make sure you try to do, again, your follow-up posts whenever you can. This week, you just have that one post. It's due on Friday. You don't have to worry about posting a follow-up post unless you wish to, okay? Because, you know, maybe you and somebody else have the same, you know, favorite movie quote, whatever it happens to be, okay? A couple of things here about academic honesty and everything. My big thing in this course that is like my pet peeve, if you will, is going ahead and taking photos, if you will, of my test questions and sharing of the test question information with others in the class. It's one thing if all of a sudden the whole you know, quiz falls apart and everything, but it's another thing if all of a sudden you snap a photo and it's sharing of answers or sharing of test questions. If all of a sudden something looks weird on your end and you snap me a photo and you send it to me, I'm going to probably, you know, I'm not going to have an issue with it. Some other biology faculty will have an issue, but to me, I'm going to say, hey, you know, you're just being open and honest and you're trying to go ahead and communicate to me something that you felt was not functioning properly. So I'll take that. But again, I prefer that you're not going ahead here and sharing things. The other thing too with this setup and everything, as you go ahead and you take your exam, if you wish to have some notes present, it doesn't matter to me. Your exams, just to let you know, so I'm going to again go down here to the schedule. Your exam is going to be 25 questions and you're going to have 30 minutes to go ahead and do that. All right? So all 3 of these exams, 25 questions, 30 minutes. So you can't be looking up every single question. You know, there's some things that you're just going to have to know off the top of your head. And again, where do I get the test questions from? They're based off from the learning objectives. What are the videos based off from? The learning objectives. So again, I try to keep things sequenced together. Okay. Now, probably the big question that people will get is it going to be questions verbatim from the videos? Well, remember too, I can change things up. So, you know, Again, example, maybe I happen to have a question out there, that deals with the structure of DNA. And again, I can ask questions about the structure of DNA in many different ways. So what you see on the video, if you're following along, you'll be okay. And again, there are keys, and if you're following the learning objectives, you should be okay in the course. Okay. Late work and things of that nature, try to get your work in on time. I'm a pretty forgiving person, but try to keep up with us. Okay. I know it's a condensed course and everything, but again, try to go ahead and keep up with everything that we happen to have here. Okay. Last thing I'd like to point out is the withdrawal for this course. It's kind of weird. The withdrawal date is going to be March 2nd. So again, if you have any sort of reason to withdraw from the class, I always look to you to be that individual for withdrawing. I don't go ahead and drop students. I feel that you signed up for the course, you chose to be in the course, and if you choose to withdraw from the course, that is perfectly fine. I don't take anything personal if you choose to withdraw from a course. I don't look at it as being, good cop, bad cop, or anything like that. Just sometimes, again, things come up and you have a reason to withdraw, and so go ahead and feel free to withdraw. If you have questions for me about, why to withdraw, or, are there points left and things of that nature, we can always go ahead and converse through, again, electronic media, whether it's through email, or again, we can hop onto Zoom and I can explain that to you. Okay. So again, the withdrawal date is going to be March 2nd. All right. So that's kind of the course, if you will, in a nutshell. Okay. So I kind of talked to you again about the evaluation process. Again, that, we have a 90, 80, 70, 60, and you can see the points right here that make up that 90, 80, 70, 60. So you can see the raw points that go with it. Again, the class is out of a total of 300 points. Half of those are going to be made up again from the exams. And remember, the exams you're allowed to retake. And then you also happen to have the assignments that happen to be out there as well. Okay, so that's what we have here. All right, and with that, I've gone over typically what I like to do for an introductory video, which is about roughly 30 minutes here. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them on to me. Normally, I do not go ahead and put my face into the video lectures. I pretty much just show the PowerPoint slides and things of that nature. So this may be one of the last times you'll see me again. But if you ever have a question, feel free to reach out. Feel free to communicate to me, and I will do my best to communicate back to you in an effective time manner as well. All right? So again, I hope to see you online, and welcome to Bio 138, and I wish you the best here this semester. And again, remember, we've got 8 weeks, so let's go ahead and let's hit it, and let's just go ahead and get this, again, completed as fast as we can in a very effective manner. And again, I am always here to help you, so feel free to reach out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.